Welcome to the Module 2 of the Ultimate Power BI course for Healthcare Analytics, from beginner concept to real-world healthcare visualization. Now, you must have probably watched different Power BI courses, and if you've not, welcome to watching the first time. In Module 1, I spoke about how to install Power BI, and right now we're about getting very serious, so try to brace up. And one of the things you need to know is that the first step to actually being a good data expert or a good data analyst, a good data scientist, is to understand the context. So, what you're trying to do is you're trying to solve business problems. And in solving business problem, you need to understand what the business really needs. And this module, particular module 2, might feel a little bit dense. This module, we are probably not even doing anything related to data analysis intently. We are giving like context into like the problem we want to solve. We want to know what do we need to do first of all before going right into the analysis. And what do we need to do? The first thing we need to do is what this module 2 is titled, the data project and analysis planning. You need to have like a roadmap. What is the end from the beginning when you start your analysis? In this module 2.1, I will talk about understanding the business problem. And to have that, I actually had to create an hypothetical business for this project. And what this is doing is that it's simulating a real world company based off of my experience and expertise. It is actually so real that there's going to be a couple of back and forth between myself acting as a stakeholder and also the data consultant. And it shows how that data in the real world is not clean, is messy, and how that you can answer all the questions that you need to answer with your data. So we are going to have those kind of scenarios right here also in this particular module. So let me give you context about like this business that we are using as our example. And in case you're interested in healthcare analytics, this is a very perfect one for you. So you use one stone to kill two birds. Now pause this video to read what I have here, but I'm just going to give you a summary about it. So Jjay Health Services is serving as an health insurance company. And what happened is that they have over 350K members and they have 6,000 providers. Now, how does the health insurance company work? I'm not going to assume you know, but if you know, that's fine. I'm just going to refresh your memory. The way the health insurance company work is that normally healthcare can be sometimes expensive and a lot of things can happen unprecedented. So individuals by themselves out of pocket or through their organization or through the government pay a certain organization with an agreement of I'm going to pay a certain amount monthly if I do fall sick or I need to visit the doctor. You are going to bear a part of the treatment, and it depends on whatever plan you sign up for. Some of them would pay a good number of your treatments, and some of them would like you would have to pay, maybe you have to pay a lot out of pockets. So the goal of an health insurance company, sometimes most insurance company, would be to make profits. So what happens is that, so out of these 350,000 members, so some people might be like more people that fall sick, some people might not fall sick, right? So people are paying every month, and when they pay every month, some people would for so till sort of even or balances out. So one of the things you also need to know is, so the organization, the health insurance company, has to have like partners. And for them to have the partners will be like the providers, so which are called like hospitals. So the reason they need to do that is that, like, when you want to go visit, like you probably are sick, right? You need to go to the hospital. So they'll say, you know what, go to this hospital because we kind of have conversation with them. They won't charge you too much so that we will not run out of loss. And you just simply go to this physician or this doctor. And when you go, do your yearly checkup. So what you are doing is that is actually called your PCP, which is your primary care physician. There are also like specialists, people that you have to like, you visit only when you have like, there are special medical issues. And outpatient facilities are like you probably go just to clinic. There's no, you can't sleep in there, so that's basically outpatients. So there are people who go for ER or emergency, like maybe they need to rush in for some stuff. So JHS, which is JJL service, gets have different members, have different provider, and they're trying to make money. They're not trying to run out of markets. Now you are trying to learn. So hypothetically, they are hiring you as your data consultant to be able to find out how to help them with some of their data problem and what are the problems that they do have. So currently, what they noticed was that over the last 3 years, they've had a drastic increase in total claim costs. I'm also not going to assume you know what claim is. What happens when you go to the doctor's office, if you actually do have an health insurance, is that you give them your health insurance card. The doctor knows what the price of their service is. Let's assume that price is $1,500. The doctor then tells you to pay $100 the day you visited. So the other 1,000 for what the doctor is going to do, in this case, it doesn't have to be doctor all the time because it could be several names. So I'm just going to use doctor for easy reference. The doctor, what they do, so the 1,004 that is left, and there's a way they do all of the calculation, they would ask your health insurance company to pay that money. So when they send that money, when they send the bill to the health insurance company, that bill is called claims. So there's a whole process about how that goes, but that's like a summary of what it is. Now, the other thing they also noticed, which JSS noticed, was that there's an increased inpatient admission among Medicare Advantage members. Now, inpatient is when you go to the hospital and somebody has to sleep in. Is more expensive than just going and you probably come back the next day for anything or just regular checkup. Now, in case you don't know what Medicare Advantage is, Medicare Advantage like Medicaid. So the way like an employer or an individual can decide to get insurance by themselves, the government can also decide to pay some people's health insurance for them, right? And that is like after they fulfill like some certain criteria, maybe they have low income or they are pregnant, all of those kind of things, right? So or they have disabilities. So the government doesn't want to, probably create their own health insurance company. So what the government does is that they probably have eligible, health insurance company that they're going to work with and say, you know what, we are going to pay you this, health insurance money for this particular people, and just run them, like work with them to be able to ensure they get the better health services. So that's sort of how it works. So that's one of the things that these folks have noticed. So when they say that there's increase in admission, in inpatient admission, that's an issue, right? Meaning that there will probably be more claims and cost is going to go higher. So this organization is trying to be very proactive where they're trying to solve the current challenge that they have. So there's also higher than expected readmission rates in certain region. What happened is, so when you go to the doctor's office and you have to go back again for the same issues, meaning that they want to be sure that this is not like a fraud or a waste or abuse. They just want to be sure that it's not like the doctors are not treating those patients well, such that like they want them to keep coming back and so that they will keep asking for more money. So these are all the things that GS GHS is factoring just to ensure that they are using data rightly. They also look at like there's a growing provider payment dispute. So the providers, like the doctors, are like, you know what, no, you guys said this bill is 1,004, but you guys said they're going to pay us $1,000. So that dispute is also not good for the health insurance company. There's also executives also finding difficulty obtaining consistent, reliable performance dashboard. So they want to have like, how do we track, you know, our growth? How do we track what is happening within the organization? So that same as engage you as an healthcare analytics consultant to help bring clarity to their data and support strategic decision making. So this is part of like the course of what this analysis is all about, and we're going to be talking about like real projects. And just to go more specific, so the business problem is that the CEO and the CFO are particularly concerned about like escalating medical loss ratio. I'm going to talk more about this in the coming like video, and also regional cost variability, like some regions, like probably like some members in some states or some zip code actually have higher costs compared to like others, and like what is happening. So they want to know what I mean the cost of that. There's also like high cost member driving disproportionate spending, meaning there are some members that are very sick, or probably you call them super utilizers. So they want to know, what do we need to do to like solve this challenge. And there's like readmission and preventable utilization. Like somebody just goes in for headache to the ER or to the emergency, like you could have just seen your doctor or taking your medication or just do normal random checkup. So there's also payer provider contract performance, so they want to know that. So the summary here is that the organization needs a structured analytic solution that connects claims data, member information, provider performance, and time-based trend into one coherent performance model. Now you're like, this is a lot. And that is how it works actually in everyday data analysis. So it comes as though like it's a lot of information, and we start to break it down. So in the next video, now this is, imagine what I just did was that the stakeholder saying or explaining all of their challenges. Now in the next video, we're going to be talking about what are the questions we're going to ask this stakeholder in this particular scenario. Now see you in the next video. Ciao.